Dizziness does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels subtle at first. You walk into a supermarket and suddenly feel mentally overloaded. You start noticing the brightness of the floor. The movement around you feels harder to comfortably process. Other people seem completely normal. Meanwhile, your body feels strangely uncertain. That is what makes dizziness so difficult to explain. A lot of people expect dizziness to mean obvious spinning, but many people never experience spinning at all. Instead, dizziness can feel like your movement stopped feeling automatic. You may feel slightly disconnected while walking. You may feel off balance in wide open spaces. Some people say they feel lightheaded. Others describe a strange, spacey feeling. Sometimes it feels like your body and surroundings are slightly out of sync. And one of the strangest parts is how different dizziness can feel from one person to another. For some people, dizziness feels visual. Busy environments suddenly become exhausting. Supermarkets feel overwhelming. Bright stores feel uncomfortable. Crowded places feel mentally draining. You may start noticing lights, ceiling height, floor patterns, or movement much more than before. Some people feel calmer touching a shopping cart while walking. Others feel more stable near walls or shelves. That is not random. When balance starts feeling uncertain, the brain naturally searches for stable visual reference points. That is also why large open spaces can feel uncomfortable for some people. There is less nearby visual structure for the brain to anchor itself to, and many people do not even realize they are adapting this way. They simply notice certain environments feel harder. Some people start walking slightly slower. Some avoid quick head turns. Some keep their eyes locked straight ahead while walking. These changes often happen automatically. Then there is another type of dizziness that feels less visual and more internal. This is the type many people struggle to describe. You may feel foggy, detached, mentally off balance, not faint exactly, not spinning either, just not fully grounded. Some people describe it as a weird head feeling. Others say, it feels like my brain is working harder to keep me balanced. That description is actually very common. Balance normally feels automatic. You do not usually think about standing, walking, or turning your head. But when dizziness appears, people often become hyper-aware of movement. They start mentally monitoring balance throughout the day. You may notice yourself checking how stable you feel while walking. You may become more aware of stairs, shiny floors, escalators, or moving crowds. Some people even feel mentally on guard in visually busy places. And interestingly, symptoms often become stronger the more attention you give them. That does not mean the symptoms are imaginary. It means the brain has shifted into a higher state of movement monitoring. The nervous system starts paying closer attention to balance, motion, and visual input. That can make environments feel more intense than they used to. This is one reason dizziness can become emotionally exhausting. Not because the sensation is always severe, but because your brain stops fully trusting movement to feel effortless. For some people, motion sensitivity becomes part of the experience too. You may feel strange after scrolling on your phone. You may dislike fast-moving traffic. Walking through crowded areas may suddenly feel draining. Some people feel worse under fluorescent lighting. Others notice symptoms more in places with lots of visual depth or motion. And one confusing part is that symptoms can change depending on the environment. You may feel relatively normal at home, then feel off balance in a large store. You may feel better outdoors than indoors, or calmer in smaller spaces than large open ones. Those patterns matter. Dizziness is often connected to how the brain processes movement, vision, and spatial awareness together. That is why symptoms can feel so different depending on where you are and what your brain is trying to process. And importantly, dizziness does not always mean something dangerous is happening in that moment. Many people become stuck in cycles of hyperawareness, visual overstimulation, stress, movement sensitivity, and symptom monitoring. The brain starts expecting instability. Then it pays even more attention to every sensation. That cycle can make dizziness feel bigger and more persistent than it originally was. Sometimes the biggest relief comes from finally hearing someone describe the experience in a way that actually sounds familiar. If you have been struggling to describe your dizziness, feeling off balance while walking, feeling lightheaded in busy places, or noticing unusual motion sensitivity, a dizziness symptom quiz may help you better understand the pattern behind your symptoms. Because dizziness can come from very different patterns. And when the experience starts making more sense, it often starts feeling less frightening too.